Well, hey there, modern math teacher. Let's clear something up right away. You do not need a full blown project based learning unit to start bringing real world math into your classroom. I know. I'm Kristen Moore, your host here on the Modern Math Teacher podcast. And while I love PBL to its core, I know that might be holding you back, okay? Because I think this is where a lot of you teachers are getting stuck. You hear PBL and immediately think weeks of planning, full unit redesign, cross-curricular connections, exhibitions, presentations, all of it. And you're like, "Oh, yeah, no, girl. I don't got time for that one." So instead, you just don't do it at all, okay? And I get that. But what if I told you that you do not need to start with a full-on PBL project, okay? You do not need to overhaul your entire curriculum, and you sure as heck do not need to plan hours and hours to make it meaningful, okay? So, in today's episode, that's what we're talking about, okay? What to do instead of a full-on PBL unit, how to start small in a way that is actually going to work for you and your schedule, and how to turn what you're already teaching into something a little bit more meaningful. Sounds good? Are you up for it? Let's do this, you guys. All right. Now, I got to be real with you for a second, okay? Full PBL units are amazing. Creme de la creme, love them. Chef's kiss. I love them. I use them, but I understand this. They are not always realistic, and they are not always the best approach to teaching a specific topic in math. Told you I'm getting real with it, okay? Especially when you are working with like a required curriculum, you're managing multiple preps, or you're just trying to make it through the week. And right now it's May, friends. I know we're just trying to make it through the week some days, okay? This is what I see happening. Teachers feel like it has to be all or nothing. And friend, it's not that. It's either I do full PBL or I stick with traditional instruction. BS. You can have the best of both worlds, as Hannah Montana would like to tell us, okay? That's just not true. Now, instead of thinking on full-on PBL projects, I want you to start thinking in terms of like pieces of a project. That could maybe be like a mini project, a performance task, a single experiences that focuses on one idea, okay? Almost like the milestones that we have within our larger PBL units, right? A big PBL unit spans a couple of weeks and is broken down into milestones. Each milestone has its own milestone marker, a part of the project they're turning in. Think about it like that. It's going to stand on its own though, okay? And this is where things are going to start feeling doable for you because now you're not asking, how do I overhaul this entire unit? You're thinking, how do I make this one lesson or these one couple of days in my classrooms more meaningful? Okay? And I'm going to say this with all honesty. Okay? Are you listening? I need for you to stop doing two things. Okay, listen up. Stop wasting time on fun projects that have no real meaning or value in your classroom. I know, let that sink in. And number two, stop putting off projects completely because you think that they are too time consuming. Because both of those options are keeping you stuck in the same place, and neither one of them is leading to better learning. So I want you to stop and think, what might this actually look like? I'm not going to do the fun, fluffy BS projects that are a waste of my time and my students' time. And I'm not going to skip projects altogether because I don't know how to run them or design them or whatever my reasoning is, okay? I want you to think about this same process. So when I go to sit down and I redesign a lesson or I want to create one of these smaller project experiences, there's a short, simple process that I go through. And it does not take hours. It just takes being really intentional for 15 minutes, okay? So step one, are you with me? Let's do this together. Start with your topic and your targets. This is where we're always starting. What are you teaching? What do your students need to understand? And I'm always thinking about this in terms of the domain of rigor, procedural, conceptual, and applicable, right? Because I want to try and maximize my time and effort with my students. I want to make sure that I'm getting something that hits those three. And if it doesn't hit all three, it's just not going to stick. It's probably not worth your time then, okay? Step two, think about the end product. Where are your students or what are your students going to do, rather, to show their understanding of the actual math? Not just completing problems, but actually explaining, modeling, making decisions, right? Justifying what they did. And step 3, build in some student personalization. Because when your students get to make choices or connect to something familiar or bring in their own thinking, that's where the relevance really starts to show up. And your students aren't going to think that this is just kind of fun and fluffy. They're going to see that connection of, when am I ever going to actually use this? Okay. And now, once we've thought about those things, we've started with our targets and our topics. We know the math is meaty and good. We've figured out what it is they can do at the end to demonstrate that they've understood this. We've thought about some ideas for our students to kind of customize it and really make it a little bit more personal and meaningful for them. Now, all we're going to do, map the pathway. Okay. What do your students need to learn first? What experiences, lessons, activities, whatever you have, what's going to get them there, right? And that's the idea of real, relevant, and rigorous is coming back into play. So let's talk through a couple of different examples of what this might look like in your classroom in real life, right? Okay, so if I, for example, love the stained glass project, right? I designed it intentionally in a way that instead of having to do the full project, you could take just one piece of it. Okay, so let's say you're focusing on writing linear equations in standard form or slope-intercept form. Pick one of them, right? It works for any of them, right? Your students could model a situation, right? The situation that I propose about, like what their constraints are that they're working with. They can write the equations. They can make decisions based on efficiency or design. It's the same core concept, but a much smaller scope. You can get that done in one class period, less than one class period even, depending on the day. And it's still meaningful. It's still got problem solving. It's still got analysis. It still has design choices for your students, okay? All of that comes together. Another example you could use. Instead of just giving your students a bunch of data and having them create a histogram, find the mean, what's the IQR, give your students the opportunity to gather some real world data, choose how to represent it, and explain what it's showing. That change, which can be done in one class period, gets your students making decisions, interpreting results, and connecting math to something real. Okay. And I know that this works. It works because it fits into your current curriculum. It doesn't require a full overhaul, and it still gives students a meaningful experience. I know we're not waiting around here. We're not going to find the perfect time to do a PBL, but we're going to build towards it. And the more you start doing this, the more confident you are going to get. And eventually, you can build towards designing and implementing your own larger projects. But friend, you don't have to start there, especially not in May, okay? So if you're thinking, I want to start doing this, I'm not sure if I'm teaching a topic that's best aligned for projects or practice, or like, is it even going to be worth it? And I'm wondering the same thing, right? All right. I got a free guide that's going to help you with that. It is the Project or Practice Guide, where I looked at the top 10 most taught topics within each of our subject areas. And I let you know how aligned it was to procedural, conceptual, applicable, letting you know if it's better to focus on just really getting that good practice in versus really applying it and getting some projects in. And you can grab that here in the show notes. All right, you guys, that's it from me this week. Until next time, everyone, keep it real.